Hey, what's up, guys? It's your boy Dynamic, and my topic of the day starts off with a question. Is global warming a hoax? We will look into it further, but for now, I will give you the definition and the history of global warming just so that we are on the exact same page here. Okay, so let me read the definition and I'll get into the history of it a bit before I discuss my opinions, because I am not a scientist, remember that, guys. So the definition of global warming is an increase in the Earth's average atmospheric temperature that causes corresponding changes in climate that may result from the greenhouse effect. Now that we got that out of the way, we could go into some of the history of global warming. So basically, before the 1970s, there was research done on how CO2 levels in the atmosphere of a planet had an effect on the actual temperature of the planet. The specific planet that was being used during this research was Venus, and scientists linked Venus's hot temperature, because Venus is really hot, with the amount of CO2 that is in its atmosphere. They learned through that there is a correlation between the amount of CO2 in the atmosphere and the temperature of a planet. A little later after this, the term global warming started appearing in articles and newspapers, but was mainly brushed aside as a back page news story or a theory or myth, something along that nature. And it wasn't until the 1990s that there was clear, substantial statistical evidence that the Earth was indeed warming, meaning that up until that point, scientists didn't really have the readings necessary to actually say that, to actually state their point of view, and that it was an actual occurrence that the Earth was actually warming. But by the 90s, they already had gathered the temperature readings year after year after year, and they developed a pattern in which the Earth was warming, and that pattern continued all the way until today. If you follow that pattern, the Earth is still warming under that pattern. But was this warming mankind's fault? This is the main argument against global warming. Critics say that it is not a man-made occurrence, that it is a natural occurrence by the Earth, because throughout history, the Earth has been known to have these cooling cycles, these warming cycles. I don't know if you guys have heard of the Ice Age. Even in between the 1300s all the way to the 1800s, something called the Little Ice Age, where parts of Europe were just so much colder during those centuries they had been before that or after that. When there was no evidence, what the global warming detractors used to say is that it wasn't real. They used to say that it was a myth, or that it was a fluke, or that it was a fake. But now that there is evidence that the Earth is warming, their response is that it is not a man-made occurrence, that there is no evidence that it is a man-made occurrence. My opinion on the subject is, I believe that global warming is real. I believe that it is a man-made occurrence. I believe that because of the development of all these new countries, coupled with the already developed nation of the US, and the CO2 emissions that these countries produce via cars, transportation of all types, via the industrialization of all these new products and services. Basically, fast growing economical nations are the nations that are really driving climate change now, in my opinion. For example, countries like the US, countries like China, countries like India, Brazil, Mexico, these are countries that are producing massive amounts of CO2 gases that will do nothing but increase over the next 50 years as more and more countries rise out of poverty, rise from the third world, and then start in turn producing middle-class citizens. This is both a good thing because society wouldn't be as advanced without fossil fuels, but at the same time, this also creates another problem where our planet is being put in danger. And it's not really our planet, because our planet, if we were gone, our planet would be back to normal within years. So in reality, we are not endangering our planet as much as we are endangering our own selves. It is within our own self-interest to actually want the Earth to be as habitable as possible for us to live, because that will give us the best conditions to thrive, to prosper. And it's kind of sad that, in my opinion, this isn't given a second look, because it is something that is really important. Now, It is difficult for all countries to develop themselves under these conditions, under these limitations, if limitations for global warming are put in place. But if they're put in place for everyone, meaning every single country plays under the same conditions, then I would understand the theory that nothing would be impacted as much, meaning that no one would have a certain advantage over anybody else. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this thoughtful commentary, and as always, peace out, players.